Hello everybody, welcome into the last day of Christmas prep. Congratulations, you made it! Today is game day. As you can see, I have my favorite Christmas penguin hat on. I got my favorite Christmas penguin scarf. And I'm decked out in my Christmas gear. I'm ready to go. And you should be too. You've set yourself up for success. Today's the day we're going to do the meal. It's going to be flawless execution. You have set yourself up for success. You have taken care of yourself through this Christmas prep process. Thank you for staying with me through this. So let's get our prep on. First item, we have our sweet potato bundt cake. Remember, yesterday we completed this. It is done. It is on the counter. It is already iced. It's already garnished with pecans. The only thing that needs to be done for this item is to slice it and serve it. So dessert is ready. The same thing with our cranberry sauce. We have cooked it and it's in the fridge, and we have our little bag of orange zest garnish to finish this. So all that's needed is to take the cranberries and put them in whatever you're going to serve them in, a little dish or bowl, and then sprinkle on your orange zest garnish, and that is also finished. We already have 2 items complete. Moving on to the star of the show, the rib roast. Everybody loves a nice rare rib roast. So here's all my tips on how to get it as perfect as possible. 4 hours before your bake time, you want to take this out of the fridge and leave it on the counter. Spend those 4 hours just to let it temper out and let it be coming to that room temperature. Don't cover it with foil or anything. Leave it completely uncovered and at room temperature. Very, very important. We don't want the protein to be shocked when it goes into the oven from being super cold into the super hot oven. We want to just let it mellow out. It's going to cook faster, it's going to cook more evenly, and you're going to have more control over getting that perfect medium rare that you really want by letting it temper out first. So don't skip that step. When you're ready, we're going to bake this at 350 until the internal temperature is 132 for medium rare, or more like 140 for about medium, which is still nicely pink. And you want to use a really good digital thermometer for this. You want to temp it right in the center of the thickest part. And it could just be right in the center, because rib roast has a little bit of tail. It's not that much difference in size from the head cut. So just get it right in the middle to get that temperature. Make sure you give it at least 5 seconds to get an accurate read. And once you hit that temperature, you pull it out of the oven and let it rest out on the counter. Okay, a general good rule of thumb for cooking times is going to be 12 to 14 minutes per inch of thickness to get it to that medium rare. And that's obviously going to be in the thickest part of this rib roast. You want to allow it to rest out after cooking for at least 30 minutes before you cut into it at all. You may have seen, meats pulled out of the oven and then cut right away. That just, all the cooking juices just leak right out of it. And we want to keep those intact as much as possible to keep it nice and moist. And we want to keep it, juicy and tender as much as possible. So this resting after cooking is also essential. Don't skip that step. One thing I want to mention as we're going through these slides, I put them in a general order of when you need to do things. So the things that are going to take the longest, I put those slides first. Or obviously the things that are finished, I put first, because you don't even have to think about those. So as we're moving through this, you can see kind of in what order we would complete these items for the menu. So that's our rib roast. Next up is our turkey. Same deal. This is a protein. So we want that rest time before baking, 4 hours, to be pulled out of the fridge and just left on the counter at room temperature to temper out for 4 hours. Again, don't cover it with foil or anything. Leave it completely uncovered and just have it sitting in whatever pan you're going to roast this turkey in. Baking times. You want to do this about an hour and a half to 2 hours before you need it ready. Okay, that may not seem like a lot of time, but the tempering is really going to help this to cook faster as well. Now, if you have a really big turkey, you may want to allow more like 2.5 to 3 hours, because you will have additional baking time to get it to that internal temperature that we want, which again, your digital thermometer is going to be your best friend in getting this nailed perfectly. We want that 160 in the thickest part of the breast, which is up at the top of the turkey. You want to temp it right next to the breastbone until you push the thermometer down until you can feel that breastplate right underneath all the meat. So next to the breastbone, push it down until you see the plate, get a 5 to 8 second read. As soon as it's 160 in that thickest part of the breast, you can pull the turkey out of the oven. And again, just like with the rib roast, we want to let that rest at room temperature at least 30 minutes before carving. I like more like 40 minutes. Now, both of these things are still going to be warm for a long time, so it's fine to have them just hanging out on the countertop beforehand. If you need to flash them in the oven for 10 minutes before serving to reheat them back up, there is nothing wrong with that. You're not going to hurt anything by doing that. Next up, we have our sweet potato mash. Remember, yesterday we finished this all the way through, and they are also already in our oven safe dish that we're going to serve them out of. So what you want to do is, just like with the meats, we want to pull these out of the fridge 4 hours before service to let them sit out on the countertop to be tempering, right? Losing a lot of that cold. They'll heat faster, they'll heat more evenly. Just gives you a little more control. Now, to prep this, what I like to do is cut a piece of parchment paper, either in a square or in a circle to fit the top, and put the parchment over the top first, and then come back with foil to really seal in the sides to keep that moisture in there while we're heating this in the oven. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit. I just like that extra barrier of parchment. I find that sometimes these will stick to the foil and you will end up pulling off some of the sweet potato on the foil when you take it off, and I just don't like that. So I like to add that extra layer, and it also helps to keep the moisture in there. Same temperature we're baking as the proteins. 30 to 45 minutes is all it's going to take until this is warmed through and very hot in the center. Once again, we're going to use our thermometer in the center. We want to hit about 170, 175, and that will hold its heat for a good 20, 30 minutes very easily before service. So that is going to be working in your favor as well. After it's baked, you can keep it covered on the countertop for 20, 30 minutes. It's all good. If you want that extra step to give it a little bit of extra flavor, maybe a little bit better presentation, you can bake it uncovered for an additional 12 to 15 minutes, which will kind of crisp up the top and give you a nice little golden brown color and enhance that flavor a little bit, because that caramelized sweet potato is really delicious. Not a necessary step, just if you want to do that, you can. Remember, yesterday we cut up our bread and we put it in the baking dish that we want to serve out of, and that's been out overnight, uncovered. The bread has been getting hard and stale, which is exactly what we wanted. And then we're just going to add to it. So what we do next is we take our saucepan and we heat butter in the pot. When it's warm, we add our butternut squash. We saute that for about 4 minutes. You want to keep it moving so that they start to soften up. And remember our little prepped bags of onion celery that we did yesterday, and our prepped bag of chopped herbs that we did yesterday. Pull both of those out. You're going to add your onion, celery, garlic to the butternut in the pan. Saute that 2 to 3 more minutes. And we want the onion to become translucent. That means it's just starting to cook through and lose that raw vegetable texture. When that happens, you can add all your herbs and 12 ounces of chicken stock and just stir that in. Bring that to the simmer, and then you want to season with salt and pepper. Give it a taste. Once you have your seasoning correct and it tastes delicious to you, then you want to take all that vegetable and stock mix and pour it onto your bread in the pan. Use a spoon to mix all that in. If you feel like it needs to be a little moister, you can add a little more chicken stock at that time. But use your spoon to really mix it through, make sure everything's evenly distributed. And then just use the back of a spoon to kind of lightly press it down, make sure we fill in any gaps and make sure there's not any air bubbles in our dressing. And once you do that, it's ready to bake, right? You bake it uncovered 30 to 40 minutes until the top is golden brown, just like that picture there. If you find that it's getting too much color, or maybe it's starting to dry out a little bit too much, cover it with foil and finish out the baking time that way. The foil will help it really kind of start to steam, and it won't allow it to dry out on the top. It all depends on how deep your baking dish is, and it also depends on how much color you want to get on it. So you can control the moisture level of your dressing by when you cover it and for how long you bake it covered. But that's the way to gauge. You can always check it as it goes, but it only takes 30 to 40 minutes. It's a very quick process. And the gravy is an item that we have just prepped yesterday, so we're gonna finish it. We're actually gonna make it now. So grab the onion mushroom bag that we made yesterday, and we wanna saute the onion mushroom together over medium heat in a little olive oil for 4 to 6 minutes till the mushrooms and onions just start to get soft. Then we're gonna add cornstarch, and we continue to saute in that pot. We wanna distribute the cornstarch evenly over the vegetables and on the bottom of the pot. After we get that, we're going to add chicken or beef stock at 8 ounces at a time and use a whisk to really evenly distribute it, make sure there's no lumps, make sure it has that nice velvety texture. Once that addition is incorporated, we want to add another one and keep whisking until all the liquid's been added. When all the liquid, the broth has been added, you bring it to a simmer. Now is the time we're just going to cook the starch out. We don't want it to have that raw starch taste. So bring it to the simmer. It doesn't have to be a rapid boil. We just want to simmer it out for 2 minutes. That should cook out the starch. And at that point, you want to taste it for seasoning. If it needs a little salt, pepper, go ahead and add that. Nail the seasoning. And then you can just keep that to the back of the stove to just stay warm until you need it. Just keep it in the pot. When it's time for service, you're just going to ladle it into your gravy boat or whatever bowl you're going to serve it out of, and done. If you'd like to garnish with a little bit of chopped parsley, you can hold back just a teaspoon of the chopped herbs that you had left from the dressing, and you can use that on top of the gravy if you want to garnish it like that. And now we come to the Brussels sprouts. I like to use a large cast iron skillet or some kind of heavy bottom pan for even heat distribution. To finish this, remember we have our bag of Brussels that we've already cut and prepped. We have our onion, bacon, cranberries off to the side too, so get those out, and we have our pecans on the side. What you want to do is heat butter and olive oil or butter and bacon fat if you want to go over the top, make it super delicious. Use the bacon fat. Medium heat, add your Brussels, and you want to just saute those over that medium to medium high heat until we get that nice brown color that you see in the picture. Once we have that over all sides, should be about 6 to 10 minutes, depending. At that point, you can stir in your cranberry, bacon, and stir in your pecans. Mix it well. Add salt and pepper for seasoning. Really stir it well to distribute all the spices. Make sure the seasoning is good, and then taste one. What we want is a texture where they're not mushy. They still need to be a little bit crispy right in the middle of the Brussels sprout, but not raw still. So you want to nail that texture. Just keep them kind of moving in the pan until you have that. They still want to have some integrity. You should be able to get that crispiness from the outside where it's nicely browned, and that's the way to nail the Brussels sprouts. Now, as soon as you get that texture, you want to remove them into whatever dish you're going to serve them. Or if you're not going to serve these right away, just put them in a flatter container like a half sheet pan or something, a baking dish where they can cool down. We don't want to try to hold green vegetables hot for too long. So you can cook them ahead of time as long as you let them come to room temperature and then just heat them quickly in the oven right before serving. And that's a way that you don't lose that nice texture and you don't overcook your Brussels sprouts to make them too mushy, because we don't want mushy. We still want Brussels with integrity, right? They should be kind of slightly firm to the bite. Everything should be delicious like that. And that's it. For this menu, that is the way that I would prep this whole thing. So I wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas. I hope that this was helpful for you in thinking about how to put your Christmas meal together, how to get ahead of the game, and how to easily finish on time without a bunch of stress and also without tearing your kitchen apart and making everything dirty and crazy. It should help control the chaos, make it super easy for you so that you can do this like a Christmas pro. Let me know in the community what you do from this menu, or if you make the whole menu, please let me know. Include pictures. We always like to see pictures. I appreciate you. Thank you for staying with me on this Christmas prep journey. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. I have enjoyed being with you, and I look forward to seeing what you do with your Christmas prep. Merry Christmas. I'll see you soon.